wait till you see this cover. Oh my god. Cliche. Good morning. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Lena, and this is where I talk about books. Mostly. And I vlog, so sometimes I talk about teaching, and I share a lot about my family because I like to save those memories. Or I guess like my goal is to save memories. I haven't been very good at it, but I need to get on it. Oh my god, sneeze. There's a butterfly right outside my window. But welcome to the mid-year freakout tag. This is my second year doing the mid-year freakout tag. Can you believe it? I bet you can't, because my first video has 27 views. But you know what? It's okay. I have my notes with me. It's like near the end of June. I have read 85 books. So just starting off here, the best book so far. I felt like this was a really weird assortment, so hang in there with me. I have 3 set aside. The first one was The Light Pirate by Lily Brooks Dalton. I have not been seeing people talk about this book, and I can't believe it because this was so good. I think it would be considered literary fiction or like speculative fiction, but it's about climate change and how that is affecting this one family in particular, and it kind of follows an individual in that family throughout her lifetime and like the generations that she is like a part of. But you see how their life and their home changes due to climate change and like these subtle shifts that happen throughout the years and like the decades of her life. I thought that it was so well done for the concept. More people need to read this so that we can start talking about it and open a dialogue on it. How's that sound? Another favorite was The Great Believers by Rebecca Mackay. This takes place during the AIDS epidemic. It starts in 1985. Oh my goodness, I just felt so much for these characters. Beautiful. And then last, I'm really embarrassed that this was my first time reading this, but The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This really surprised me at how much I loved this. Just so much important commentary on mental health and how women are treated when it comes to their mental health. If you haven't read it, please do. And it was like the moment I finished, I wanted to read it again. The best sequel so far, The World We Make, which was the second book in the Great Cities duology. I loved this. I loved both books. This one, when I got to the end, I was not ready for it to be over. I was so invested in these characters. I love science fiction. If you have a hard time getting into fantasy, or fantasy isn't really your thing, but you like science fiction, maybe this would be an enjoyable duology for you. So, N.K. Jemisin, I will be reading more from you. New release you haven't read yet. Ooh, do I have it up here? Hope so. Yes. Guys, wait till you see this cover. On Earth as It Is on Television. I pre-ordered this. What is this about? I mean, there's a spaceship on the cover, so that gives me a pretty good clue. When spaceships arrive and then depart suddenly without a word, the certainty that we are not alone in the universe turns to intense uncertainty as to our place within it. Aliens? Cool. Yup, I'm there. I'm here for it. I love this. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. The one I've really been looking forward to is Looking Glass Sound by Catriona Ward. I love Catriona Ward. I loved The Last House on Needless Street. I loved Sundial. And I'm also looking forward to Rouge by Mona Awad. I know I've seen other people mention that in this video as well. I've said her name so many times just now, and I hope I'm saying it right. Awad? Comment and let me know. Ugh, biggest disappointment. I have already passed it on. Mother Thing by Ainsley Hogarth. And maybe this was her intention with the book. It just gave me the ick the whole time. Like the jellied salmon, like the idea of like eating that is disgusting, and that foreshadows a disgusting, horrific twist that happens later on. I just did not go into it thinking that that was what I was about to read, and so I was disappointed because it wasn't what I wanted to be, and it gave me these horrible, gross feelings that I did not expect to have. Also, the protagonist in that story was just insufferable. Biggest surprise? I had already mentioned The Light Pirate as one of my favorite books, but that was a surprise because I wasn't expecting to love it like I did. So that was one of my biggest surprises. But my other big surprise, David Copperfield, and I did a reading vlog on it. I read it for the Game of Tomes with Carolyn and Emma, and they both did not like it. And so why am I like the opposite? Because I was like, whoa, I did not have high expectations for this, and I loved this. I loved this book. Gosh, I felt so much for David and the characters, and maybe it's because it starts off with him as a little boy, and I have a little boy. Like maybe it's just part of like where I'm at in life right now. If you haven't experienced it yet, I would recommend it. I tabbed it up like crazy because I'm not a big one for annotating. I try when I'm reading like a classic that I want reference points for. Beautiful. So, who would have thought? Not me. Oh, new favorite author. I have got to say that it is Louise Erdrich. I first read The Sentence and then I read The Night Watchman. Both were fantastic. 5 stars. We need to have more Indigenous voices in literature. Like, we just need more. And so I actually, when I started it, I didn't realize that she was Indigenous. What? Oh my gosh, why can't I? It's like, it had to do with a haunted bookstore. So that right there lets you know, oh, this book's gonna be amazing. Okay. The Night Watchman also, I rented that one on audiobook from my library, so I don't have the physical copy of that one, but oh my goodness, this was fantastic. So Louise Erdrich, you will now be an auto buy for me. Favorite reread, and I am so glad I reread this, Olga Dies Dreaming by Xochitl. Oh, Xochitl. Olga Dies Dreaming by Xochitl Gonzalez. This was so good. And I don't know where my mind was when I read it last year, but I was like, at the time, like, I was like, yeah, that was okay. Oh my God. No, it's not just okay. It's fantastic. Do check your content warnings. There is a sexual assault scene in here that like really, really bothered me. It's not graphic, but the way that it's told, it just brought up a lot for me to process. So you can kind of skip over that if you need to. That's not to say it's not important to the narrative. It is, but I don't think you need to be in the depths of it, reading it, to still get what you need to from this book. So thank you, Xochitl Gonzalez, for writing this book. I will be reading more from you in the future. So, are you guys ready for a cliche? My newest fictional crush is none other than Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. This is my first time actually reading Pride and Prejudice. I've seen the movie, I've seen the the BBC miniseries. I've always loved the story. I love the 2005 film with Keira Knightley, and I loved Mr. Darcy then, but after reading the book, I love him so much more. Oh my God. My newest favorite character, both from Lessons in Chemistry. Character number 1, Elizabeth Zott. Character number 2, 630, her dog. But not in that order. I love them equally. Books to make me cry. And while we're on the topic of cliches, Never Let Me Go by Kazuichi Girl. I know everybody says they cry at this, and I'm not one to really cry at books very often, but I cried at this. There were portions all throughout this book that had me in tears. Another one that made me cry was The Great Believers. I know I mentioned this is one of my favorite books. This is really good, and if you want to be torn apart, this is the book for you. But I read to feel, so for me, that means it's a success. Another one that made me cry was Sweet Bean Paste, because I just cared so much about these characters. Like, I really took my time reading this one, and so I was just really invested in the relationship that was building. And I always love a story about a non-romantic relationship. And a book that made you Happy Slip. I just read this one recently. This is a graphic novel about a young girl who goes to like a summer camp that is an art school intensive for students before they're like building their portfolios and applying to art school and that kind of thing. Her best friend before she goes attempts suicide. And so it is this young girl's journey of grappling with this concept that there are people she loves that are feeling that way and that she might not know it. She gets deep into her ceramics and her art making as a means of processing that. There's also like a little bit of sapphic summer love. There is like a little bit of magical realism. I will say it's really heavy on the art school theme, the language and terminology used when talking about all their different disciplines and things like that. So if you're not like a ceramics artist or like an artist in general, you might be a little bit confused about some things, because that was like some of the comments that I was seeing. But for me as an artist and an art teacher, I loved it. This was perfect. Oof. Most beautiful book acquired. I didn't pull a bunch of beautiful books. So beautiful books I've acquired. This one's a little bit tricky because I have not been buying books like I did last year. Let me go grab a couple from my shelf. Okay. Belladonna, the UK cover. The US cover is, I don't understand why the US cover is the way that it is. I have to get the second book, Foxglove, from the UK. And Book Depository is no longer in business, so I'm going to have to figure out where to order from. Maybe Blackwell's? Anyway, hello, beautiful. And also on that note, Sirens and Muses. These painted phases, like after Cleopatra and Frankenstein. Oh my gosh, instantly drawn to any books that have a painted face. But they're beautiful. Like, I hope their insides are as beautiful as their outsides. And then another one, this was another UK cover that I bought, but Our Wives Under the Sea. I can't believe I haven't read this yet, but it's like one of those that I keep setting aside because I'm like, it has to be just the right time. I don't know, there was just something that I thought was so gripping about this image. I had to have it. Another book with a beautiful cover, Page Boy by Elliot Page. What do you need to read before the end of the year? I needed to finish my 23 and 23. I made the goal of having a 23 and 23 before I could buy any books. And I've not been super successful. I've not been buying books to the extent that I was before. Don't get me wrong. But I haven't been on a complete ban, that's for sure. My 23 and 23, 4 books left. And they are the 4 that I'm really excited about, so I've left them till the end because I'm like afraid for them to be over. A Psalm for the Wild Built, Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Ruth Ozecki's The Book of Form and Emptiness, and then Lonely Castle in the Mirror. I've been excited about all of those. Maybe I need to do a vlog on finishing my 23 and 23. And then last but not least, content creators that I have been loving lately. I always say Allie from Alice in Pages. I just think she's so quirky and fun. And when I watch her videos, I feel like I'm seeing a friend. I also love Christy Ann Jones, the book Leo, obviously Carly from UnCarly. If they post something, I will watch it immediately. I have been loving Elise of Virgo Rising Reads. I'm like always looking forward to seeing her. I love her videos. So other content creators that I love, Betty's Pages. She's a bookstore that is local to me. She just makes incredible book recommendation videos. And I love all of them. She's just so well versed on many of the issues that we are dealing with in our world today, and I love it. Mooney Nix, I've been like a long time watcher of Mooney Nix because I started watching her videos when I was pregnant with Harvey Fox, and she is not a booktuber. She vlogs her life as like a new mom, but she's just the sweetest. I love her so much. She is a favorite of mine. Oh, Extreme Katrine reads Katrina. My goodness, I love her. I just think she's so fun for just being like, she's just like so horror obsessed, and I love it. Spooky girl to the extreme. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Hopefully we get more than 27 views this year. Fingers crossed. We'll see. I don't know. Agree with my opinions, or you disagree with my opinions, or anything in between. Comment then let's connect, let's talk, let's discuss books. That's why I'm here. Yay! I will see you next time. Bye!